I suppose you're Mr. Matthew Cuthbert. My name is Anne Shirley, spelled with an E. I was beginning to be afraid you weren't going to come for me today, so I made up my mind to climb up that cherry tree and wait for you till morning.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be lovely? And to sleep in a cherry tree all silvery in the moonshine? Wouldn't it?
Well, yes. Well, no, I mean, are you sure there isn't some mistake?
You're Matthew Cuthbert, aren't you? Well, then there isn't any mistake. Mrs. Spencer told me to wait right here for you.
I'm sorry I was late. Let me take your bag.
Oh, no, thank you. It's very light and thin, like me. Well, I am dreadfully thin, aren't I? I mean, I haven't got a pick on my bones. But I do like to imagine that I'm nice and plump with dimples in my elbows. Oh, I better hold on to my bag.
So
if it's not carried in the right way, the handles fall off. It's a very old carpet bag.
I could actually, you know what? I could actually host this on the Super Dating channel.
We got a long piece to drive yet? Oh, I'm glad.
Wallace test 2. Action.
Excited for the day again?
Yeah. I suppose you're Mr. Matthew Cuthbert. My name's Anne Shirley, Anne with an E. I was beginning to be afraid you weren't coming for me today, so I made up my mind to climb up that cherry tree and wait for you till morning. Wouldn't that be lovely? I mean, to sleep in a cherry tree all shiny and shimmering in the moonlight? Wouldn't it?
Well, yes, no, I mean, are you sure there isn't some mistake?
You're Matthew Cuthbert, aren't you? Well, then there isn't any mistake. I mean, Mrs. Spencer told me to wait right here for you till morning.
Sorry I was late. Let me take your bag.
Oh, no, thank you. It's very light and thin, like me. I am dreadfully thin, aren't I? I mean, there isn't a pick on my bones. But I do like to imagine that I'm nice and plump with dimples in my elbows. No, I can carry that. I mean, if it's not held in the right way, the handles fall off. It's a very old carpet bag. We've got a long piece to drive yet, haven't we? Oh, I'm glad. Because I love driving. It seems so wonderful. I'm going to live here and belong to you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to I Think You'd Be Into It, the podcast about your problematic faves. I'm your host, Brandon Beck. As you've probably noticed, the person next to me is not my wife, but is in fact our special guest host for the evening, the creator of Super Dating Simulator, and a bunch of other shows and stuff that you love. Sam Weller. Sam Weller, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brandon. Super exciting to be a very rare, like, other guest host other than Beth. I mean, I hope I can bring some fire to this conversation tonight.
Yeah, I think you're going to be able to burn the place down, much as Anne of Green Gables did to the orphanage she was born in. Is that what happened? I didn't have a chance to read it.
I'm going to be honest with you, Brandon. I purposefully didn't prepare at all for this conversation.
Oh, hell yeah!
So, we're going to play it fast and loose. But I think the literary fans out there are really going to love what we have to say about this classic.
Oh, yeah. We like to keep it fast and loose here, especially since it's wife swap week on the show. Beth is off on assignment up in the mountains. And
I'm your wife now.
Our guest today, and the person who chose this topic, is Emily McGregor. Emily, welcome to the show.
Emily McGregor, hey!
Hello.
Yeah, see, I got you guys in two windows because I didn't want Beth's great Photoshop work to go to waste. Well, so welcome. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about Anne of Green Gables.
Hell yeah. Something I'm sure you guys are like very versed in.
But before we get started with that, let's run through a quick round of things we're into this week, which could be anything you've watched or seen or read or played lately. I'll go first so you guys can have some time to think. The thing I'm into this week is the new Yakuza game, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Oh, are you playing it, Sam?
Yeah, I actually I was playing that like just recently. I'm like in the later chapters. I'm around like the latter part of chapter 10.
Oh, damn, that's way farther than I am. I'm in like halfway through chapter 4.
Did you just start?
Yeah, I started a few nights ago, and it took me like 3 nights of playing for a couple hours before I really got invested. I for whatever reason, just was not connecting with that first chunk of like story stuff. I just was like, this is dull. I don't care. But then once I wound up in the homeless camp with my weird friends, it got like way more exciting. And it's like, oh, now this is the weird, insane game that everyone's talking about. Awesome. This rules.
Yeah. I didn't have any previous experience with the other Yakuza games.
Me neither.
So, this is my first experience. I mean, I'm a little bit familiar with the general storyline. Oftentimes, like, and what you just said about it was like, when Emily watches me play games, I've used the downstairs television, and so it was always like, okay, are you gonna watch something down here? Or can I play the PS4? And then finally, we just like rearranged it so that I had like my own TV that was in my office. So when it was like a dragon time, I was like cordoned off. But like every other moment, I was like, Emily, you got to see this. This game is so crazy. She like comes in, sees the characters that are in diapers, or like the random people on the street that you're fighting, and then she goes, "Great, babe." It's the real life version of the "Are you winning, son?"
Because you're so
You
proud.
have fun.
So proud,
Mommy's
and
watching.
Don't know what's happening. You're just pissing off our cat because there's cats in the game, and they make cat sounds, and our cat gets scared.
Yeah, I don't think Beth has seen me play it because she's been out of town since I bought it. But this seems like the kind of
The
one
perfect
where,
time to play this kind of long game is like wife's out of town. Time to play.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and like I think this is the kind of one that she would enjoy watching because there's a lot of like crazy story bullshit that I will like in one ear out the other, and then she'll have like a much better grasp of it than me and start asking me questions about what's going on that I won't be able to answer through the haze of pot smoke. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. The conceit is that basically your main guy really likes Dragon Quest, so he just imagines the world is Dragon Quest. So every time you get into like a street brawl, it's like a JRPG with like basically the exact graphic design as the last couple Persona games.
Yeah. It's like a very traditional Japanese RPG, but the thing that I like about it is that they, you can see the random battles, coming from a mile away. Everything's on the map, so you're not like really caught by surprise. You kind of know when you're about to go into combat, and then the combat itself is like, it's super clicky. Like you're kind of in and out, especially if you are over leveled for certain enemies, and you just like plow through those guys.
And you're pretty much always over leveled.
Yeah. However, what chapter are you on right now?
I'm on chapter 4. I just finished the storyline about that like creepy hospital that was
the retirement home.
Yeah, the retirement center, which is like hella weird.
Yeah. The story and the narrative, like, people really care about for these Yakuza games. I mean, we're not going to spoil anything here, but like, I was surprised by that chapter because I felt like, I actually almost wanted more side adventures like that, where it's sort of like, here's some weird scam, or, because you love scams.
I love scams.
Who doesn't love a good scam?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you're beating down these guys that are taking advantage of, essentially. So it's like, okay, that seems honorable. But, yeah.
Yeah. And like the rest of the game is just like rolling with your pals and causing trouble, and it kind of rules. So yeah, that's my thing.
You like mini games?
Say what?
Do you like all the mini games? They have like 300 mini games.
The ones I've played so far, I have enjoyed. I've really only done the. I didn't love the cycling to pick up trash thing, but I really enjoyed the movie theater mini game. Where you go into this movie theater and your character's like, man, movies are boring. I always fall asleep. And so it turns into this mini game where you have to keep your guy from falling asleep by shooting at these rams, REMRAMS.
What do you think about that, Emily?
The first time one appears, it just appears with no warning. There's just a dude's body with a ram's head appears behind you in this movie theater. And then it becomes like a weird rhythm game.
I just want to say really quick, this is like me in stereo right now because Emily's like, cool. I have two white males on either side that are just...
Sam, you forced me to go on this podcast so I could listen to you talk.
This was not the gimmick. This was not the gimmick. This
was the trick. You're like, you can talk about Anne of Green Gables. Kidding! We're going to talk about
Beth
video
and I
games.
usually bring the domestic disputes to the show, but I'm glad it's the guest host and the guest this time.
I think you'd be into it. Is like the cryptid curse that like follows all married podcasting couples, where it's like, come on, let's do a podcast, when really it's the excuse for either partner to just gush about the thing they love, and then their partners, the other person's just like, oh, I want to die. I just want to die.
Yep. That's how Beth felt. That's literally why we started the show, because I'm like that with fish, and she's just like, fucking kill me. It's been 13 years of fish. So, but yeah, that's what we're here for. That's what we like. So, yeah, Yakuza Dragon Time is my
Dragon Time.
Yeah, Dragon Time, Dragon Town, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yakuza Dragon Party Volume 1. So yeah, Sam and Emily, what are y'all into this week?
We've been watching Blown Away.
Ooh, what's that?
It is it's like a British Bake Off, but glass blowing, but American, so they're a little more snarky.
That sounds really good. Now, where can one watch this? Because that sounds like a great show to get stoned and watch.
Yeah. It's a good like you're like half watching it, half either inebriated or doing something else or eating. It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. You can stream it. I'm sure it's probably getting pushed at you on the Netflix, so you'll see it on there.
Now, does it have that sort of like American reality show vibe where it's really tense and like, you know, everything is life or death, or is it more like British Bake Off where it's all just kind of like, yeah, we're just blowing some glass, it's all chill?
It's like British Bake Off with one asshole. There's like each season there's like one asshole.
So Paul Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah. But like other than that, they're all like pretty chill and like nice to each other.
Yeah. Like I think like the thing that I like about this show, and I do think they do a better job of it in season 1 than season 2, is they do kind of tell you like these are the different glass blowing techniques and this is what's going on. I will say that like you see more like full completed projects. Like most of these folks have been blowing, they've been blowing for a while, Brandon. And they know how to shape that glass. And they have like a lot of artistry to it. It was opposed to like British Bake Off where like because of the amateur nature of some of the majority of the bakers, you're going to have contests where it's like, and the whole thing falls apart, you know? But like here, I think you always see completed projects and they always have a very like artistic spin on it. So I think like the characters of it aren't as rich as the personalities in British Bake Off, but the presentation and the overall like looking at interesting things quotient is high. As high as you are watching the show.
Now, do we think that has to do with the characters not feeling as rich? Do you think that has to do with the fact that they're American and British people just seem more rich and interesting? Just because of the accents?
Probably the accents. Yes, you don't get as much interaction with them for some reason. I don't know why. Is it a shorter show? It seems like there's like less.
Well, yeah, I think it's a shorter show because I think British Bake Off episodes are an hour.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, so you get less time with them.
They don't have to stretch. They don't have to,
Yeah.
goo it up. But they do
There's not as
stretch.
much Noel Fielding just being like surreal in the corner.
Oh,
Yeah, there's none of that.
That's the other thing. The two hosts are like perfectly fine. I think the gal, the female host is like, she is like a adjunct professor or something at USC or something. And then, but the guy that they got, who is great, Nick Uhas, like perfectly good. I'm trying to be political,
Yeah,
but
you're being very nice. He's like fine.
he's totally fine.
Not
Oh no,
great.
But,
shit!
like-
That dude, he's never gonna see this.
Yeah. No, he's like he's pretty. He's pretty.
He's a pretty guy, and he also
He gives opinions.
I think he gives opinions that are just like, you know what, I like this, and then I think he's supposed to be the everyman. But what I mean to say is, in contrast, they're not going off and doing like absurdist comedy.
Sure.
My mom is liking that we're talking about Blown Away right now.
Oh, good.
She's the one that recommended the show to us.
Oh hell yeah.
She's
Hello?
watching right now.
Hey! Welcome to the wife swap episode.
That's
Hey, Mom.
saying to your mother-in-law, "Welcome to the wife swap," is not a place I would have expected any of us to be tonight. But it's quarantine. Shit's gonna happen.
I mean,
Look, we've been seeing the same person for a long time. If it's all agreeable, let's see something else. Let's get something else going on.
Oh yeah, we're all getting weird and wet and wild. But now that we've covered Blown Away, why don't we change locales again to a tiny little place called Green Gables, shall we?
someone did.
As
do
it
something.
says right there. So, Emily, how did you get into Anne of Green Gables?
Yeah, I think if you're a nerdy girl type in the 90s, you like absorbed it. Like it just happened. Everyone knew it. Everyone knows it. And everyone saw it. Or read it. I was first introduced through the Canadian miniseries, which is the best.
Yeah, that seems to be the kind of like definitive one from the research I've done.
Yeah, it should be everyone's favorite.
I watched the first chapter of it this afternoon, and it's very Canadian.
It's
like
extra.
incredibly Canadian.
Okay, as a person that hasn't seen it, like what Canadianness is it? Like, what's the Canadianness?
So pleasant. It's
Yeah.
so pleasant. It's a good quarantine. Everyone should watch it because like that, and then Anna Avonlea, which is like the follow up. Together, it's like probably 6 hours of entertainment,
Something
quality
like that.
quarantine entertainment. Just like it's so pleasant. It's just very pleasant.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like. It seems like everyone in the town of Green Gables would be like appalled if Harold Hill rolled into town, with, like all of his instruments and shit. But Emily, if you could give us like a quick like TLDR on what Anne of Green Gables is.
Just like the plot, or like what?
Yeah, like just sort of the general like like, who is this person and why?
So Anna
Why should
Green-
we care about this like precocious little redhead girl?
What's her why?
Because
What's
she's
her?
precocious. She's great. She's this little orphan, and she gets accidentally taken in by this older family that was trying to adopt a boy to help out at the farm and basically like buy a child for child labor. But they got stuck with a girl, and she ends up just being so freaking charming and adorable that they keep her. And it's sort of her like, tripping over herself and getting into squabbles and fighting with her nemesis turned lover, Gilbert. No spoilers. Well, that is a spoiler. but
Oh, I
it's-
didn't realize that became a romance.
Oh.
Because their first interaction in the series is she just straight up clocks him over the head with a chalkboard.
Yeah. So I like to credit Anne of Green Gables with my
Clocking
entire
Sam over the head with a chalkboard.
Yeah, no, like my mean flirting. Like that's how I would flirt when I was dating, was mean, and I think it's because of Anne of Green Gables, because that's how she was like very mean to Gilbert, and Gilbert was mean to her, and then they became lovers later.
Beth once said that her love language is sick burns, and I think that might be true for both you and Anne of Green Gables as well.
Yes, I think it's accurate.
It sounds like Anne of Green Gables taught a generation of young women to beat the shit emotionally out of whoever they're interested in.
Yeah, which
It works.
is the proper thing to do, frankly.
It's effective. It works. It worked on you.
It did, actually. I just want to mention really quick before we leave that topic that Nemesis Lover is my favorite Foreigner album.
Okay. All right. I've never heard of that. That is a deep pull even for me.
It's a deep pull because it's straight out of my ass. That is not a Foreigner album, but I mean the same people that wrote Cold as Ice. I mean Nemesis Lover
Cold
is.
as ice.
I mean, I think Nemesis Lover could also be the name of some villain in an anime.
I was gonna say it sounds like an anime or like an episode of Super Dating.
Wait a minute! Don't spoil it. Super Dating Simulator's next show is Nemesis Lover.
It's about a bunch of school kids who are obsessed with Foreigner and training to become the next Foreigner. Everything okay?
Training to become, but the Foreigner is like the Highlander. Like it's a title. It's like our leader is Anne of the Green Gables.
Yeah,
but
still do have to learn how to play Cold as Ice, but
yeah. Anne of Green Gables holds the title of Foreigner.
So, Emily, are you generally into like this kind of literature, like the sort of like Little Women-y kind of like period?
I was as like a
books.
Not now. I don't really read anymore, but as a child, I would right. I mean, I listened to audiobooks. I don't know if that counts, but yeah. But as a kid, I loved any Little Women, Pride and Prejudice, any of that kind of any YA historical fiction. Loved any of that. Ate that up. Yeah.
I mean, is this kind of? I have a question, Emily.
Yes.
Is this kind of similar to like that same lane of like the American Girl dolls stuff, where it's sort of like you like kind of learning, but it's also like it's imagining like you're in a different place in a different time.
Yeah, I think it made you feel smart. You know, you're like a little weird girl. You want to feel smart, and like I liked that.
Yeah.
I was also like, Anne of Green Gables, like, yeah, she has a wild imagination. She's a little bit of a weirdo, and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm a little weirdo with imagination. This is great.
Relatable fiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think we were so starved for like good female-driven entertainment that like if a girl read, you're like, great, that's a strong female character. She reads. That's great. That's enough.
Wow, the early 1900s.
That's all we needed.
All we needed was just one woman to read. She's practically a superhero.
Yeah, great.
No, see, this girl, she's not just a wife to be. She reads.
Sold. Sign me up.
She's not just a pack mule for the farm. She reads.
She doesn't just shut up and pop out children. She has opinions and thoughts and feelings. And
like, I bet Beauty and the Beast people would be like, this is hot, awful, like, trash. Except they're like, she reads. So we love Val.
Well, that kind of was her whole character arc, too, at the beginning of that movie.
She just reads, and you're like, yes.
There's something strange because Belle can read.
That's like her whole personality is like
she's reading words inside a book when she should be at home learning to cook. We need to rewrite Beauty and the Beast real quick. BRB. Now, did you wind up like reading any of the other sort of like extended Anne of Green Gables EU stuff, like all of the sequel books and stuff like that?
Yeah. Did Samuel L. Jackson show up at the end of one of the books and go, Anne of Green Gables, you're part of a bigger universe?
He brings in like the sisters from Little Women, the
sisters
from Up in Sinclair's
like,
Jungle.
Yeah, you bring in like some like ancillary characters from like Notes from the Underground or like
the Boxcar Children.
The Boxcar, the Babysitters Club.
Yeah.
In a time machine and it's like, Anne, we have all these babies.
No, I have not read all the. There's like a million books I don't know. There's like 8.
Is
There's
it a large universe done by like the same author, or were there multiple authors that?
It's not like a universe. It's not like Star Wars. It's not like there's
not like
this web.
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's not like that. There's like a set of books.
So there's not going to be like Anne's adoptive mom, a Gable story.
Actually, I think maybe someone, I don't know if it was the author. I think somebody did do like one of Anne's daughters has this. I don't know. I think there is something like
There's
that.
Daughters
I
of
never read
Anne.
that.
There's War on Anne. Oh wait, no, that's Dune. Sorry.
Infinity War.
Yeah,
and
Infinity
Game.
War.
Yeah.
And Civil War is honestly pretty not safe for children to read.
I'm a big fan of Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt.
Anne
hurt.
Winter Gables.
It, like, physically hurt.
Stay tuned after the show for a sneak peek of this week's WandaVision.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry, WandaVision.
Ooh.
okay.
WandaVision
Honestly,
Anne.
you have gone beyond the Super Dating Simulator quotient of terrible ass puns. So I'm gonna have to like, cut you off right there.
Dude, that is my blessing and my curse, honestly.
So what it?
yeah.
Oh no, go ahead, Brandon.
No,
Sorry.
your question's probably better.
You don't know that. You don't know that. What was something that like you remember reading that like really made you feel like you did relate directly to Anne? Do you remember like a specific like moment or line that you were like, oh shit, that'd be something I'd say?
I think the beating up on boys, because I always enjoyed that. So that I related to.
We have a story about that too.
That's true. Okay. Because I feel like I always like narrowed in on like there was like always one boy that I was like didn't have a crush on. It was never like a romantic thing. So I was like probably like 7, but I like wanted to beat him. Like he was like as smart as me, and I was like, fuck this kid. I'm gonna get a better grade. I'm gonna get in the higher reading group. I'm gonna get a better chair in like French horn. Like I'm gonna just be better than this fucking dude. And that was very motivating all through my.
And I bet that kid was probably like, I want to go home and play Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I just wanted to get like, I was like, oh yeah, that guy in physics, like, man, I'm gonna get a higher grade. I'm gonna piss off that physics guy.
Now, what is it specifically about the miniseries that you speaks so much to you? The very, very Canadian miniseries.
It's very Canadian. I mean, I think it's like that any kid entertainment. Like you had like, you know, growing up, you had like 12 VHSs, and that was all you had.
Sure.
12. Every child had 12 VHS tapes exactly.
I didn't know if we had 12. I had like 5.
No,
Every born
five would be
child
the
is
ones
given
you watch
12
all.
tapes.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I interrupted.
So
you.
it was like whenever I was sick, it was that and Home Alone, and I would
Sure.
just watch those. And so now I think I have an affinity. But I did rewatch the first right before quarantine. My friend and I, we found that we both had a love for Anne, and so we watched the Canadian one. I felt it held up pretty well. I felt it's very 90s and very Canadian.
Yeah.
Our cat is very upset that we're on this show or not.
Yeah, mine have just kind of been like circling. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go grab her.
Okay.
Stay on here with her.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of it this afternoon, and there were a couple lines that stuck out to me.
Mm.
At first, when she's meeting with, I don't remember her mean foster mother's name, but the like mean lady that she lives with. She asks her what her name is, and she keeps throwing out all of these fake names, and she mentions her parents' names, and it's like, oh, they're good names. It would be a shame to have a father named Hezekiah. And I was like, why are you calling out the Hezekiahs? And then the other thing that struck me is that she kept saying the phrase bosom friend over and over in an incredibly pointed way. Like, but I need to make a bosom friend. I was like, wow, you guys are really leaning into saying bosom friend a lot.
Sort of like on Blown Away, where they say personal glory hole a lot.
Okay, hold on. Back to that. Explain.
The personal glory hole is literally just like the oven that they put the blown glass into. But
But they say personal glory, like they never just say glory hole, which is like bad enough. They say personal glory hole, like a lot.
most of the glass too, as they're blowing hard on that glass,
Into the glory hole. Yeah.
They're working the thing, right? To like get the thing good for the glory hole. Do you watch this?
My mom's watching.
So you're blowing into the glass, you're blowing, and you're turning because you have to turn it. You have to turn it as you blow, and then you got to put it in the glory hole. Just put it like big into the glory hole.
Okay.
And that's what, like finishes it, right? So this is how you finish in the glory hole.
Okay. Let me just go ahead and isolate this clip and post it on Twitter. Perfect.
Perfect. Done. And back to Green Gables.
To be honest, though, everybody on that show is an extreme artist, and my crass joke should not turn you away from trying glass blowing if you really think you'd like it.
What now? Was it the second or third episode where Anne finds a personal glory hole?
That's actually Anne of Avonlea. That's the
sure.
Okay, wait a minute. I've heard that title before, Anne of Avonlea.
Yeah, that's real.
So is that like grown up Anne? Is that like time skip Anne?
No, that's like that's when she's like in college, I think. That's when she's in college, and that's where we really get the Gilbert Anne love story, I think. If I remember, I haven't seen that series.
Can I relate it to something masculine traditionally?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like in Conan the Barbarian, where you had Conan the Barbarian, then you had Conan the Destroyer, then you had Conan the King, and like the comics would follow kind of the progression of Conan. Yeah, so it's like Anne of Green Gables, she's a young girl, she's like making her way in the world, she's establishing herself. And then I mentioned the time skip that's similar to something you see in anime and manga, where you have a cast of characters, you jump about 5 years.
It doesn't really skip. You just kind of follow along.
So it's contiguous.
I think so.
So then, but Anne of Avonlea.
It's been a bit. Don't quote me on that.
Right.
But it's not like a big.
But Anne of Avonlea follows directly. It's like a direct line.
I think
she grows up with the books.
Yeah, basically.
Would you say that it's like they were growing up with the readers?
It's not like Harry Potter. I mean, this is also like written in like the 1800s.
Okay. No, I read it did do like Harry Potter numbers in Canada when it came out.
Yeah,
like the first pressing of it was reprinted 10 times in the first year.
Oh wow! Yeah, I mean it's like a Canadian masterpiece.
The Avonlea thing, I was doing a little bit of research this afternoon. The sequel, like miniseries made by the same people that made the original one, was originally called Anne of Avonlea, and then they were like, "Oh wait, this is confusing people," and so they changed it to Anne of Green Gables, the sequel. Anne of Green Gables, live and repeat.
Good.
Anne of Green Gables, zero confusion.
This is the same Anne.
Anne of Green Gables, 3+1, parentheses, you are not in Avonlea, parentheses. And the last 20 minutes is just everyone in town going, congratulations!
Congratulations.
It should be like Anne of Green Gables. Anne of Green Gables, the college years. Like, it should just be...
West Coast Anne, where she goes to Hollywood for a few years.
Yeah.
Oh, Anne in the City.
Ooh, that's a good one. Now, are you more of an Anne or an Anne?
What other characters? Because Gilbert, you're right. Like starts as kind of her sort of foil, and like like they're button heads all the time. Oh, what were the other like characters in like that original Anne of Green Gables that like were notable? Did they feel like your friends, or did they feel like, well, these are the friends Anne's with?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like another like area that I related to with Anne was like the friends, because I was usually like the one like making people do stupid shit, and I feel like that's sort of Anne's role, and so I related to that. But in terms of characters, Matthew, you can't forget Matthew.
Who is Matthew?
Matthew is the old man that sort of becomes her like father, I guess, basically. But he's the one that takes shine. But he's a man of very few words. He doesn't really speak much. He's very quiet and shy, and she's very chatty. That's sort of her thing. So he likes that because, Matthew and I'm blanking on the Mrs. Cuthbert.
Mrs. Cuthbert.
I was gonna ask what was the mean lady's name?
I forget her orphan. I mean, she doesn't really come back. The orphan,
True.
the orphanage
Lady.
foster mom or whatever that is back then. I don't know. Yeah.
I was surprised that almost every conversation Anne has with someone in this first episode is basically her saying something innocent and then everyone else going, "Oh my God, shut up! You talk so much."
Yeah, that's the whole book.
Yeah.
Which I guess is that what it's like to be a smart woman?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yikes!
Yikes. Yeah, especially back then. Oh, here's our friend.
Aw, third guest.
Surprise guest.
Yeah. What's the cat's name?
Eloise.
Eloise. We're gonna call her Mrs. Cuthbert for the rest of the episode.
Are you a stern old woman?
You know,
never
so
married?
one of the things I discovered this afternoon when I was reading is that Anne of Green Gables is huge in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, like I think what happened is somebody during like World War II or one of the wars had translated it into Japanese and then just kind of sat on it for a good little while, and then they published it. I don't remember when exactly, but like it did huge numbers in Japan to the point where like there's like an Anne of Green Gables nursing school that like teaches people how to be take care of people like Anne. There's like all sorts of Anne of Green Gables stuff. There's even an Anne of Green Gables anime.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Which I wasn't aware of until a friend of mine loaned me her Plex account so I could watch her streaming copy of Anne of Green Gables, and they also had the anime on there. But it was just it seems so odd that it caught on so deeply in Japan, especially because it's about like a somewhat like rebellious character, you know?
Yeah, and like so Canadian.
Yeah, so Canadian. And even
Canadian.
like
Canadian.
the island that it takes place on gets like, I think the statistic I read was like 125,000 people every year show up for like, you know, Anne related pilgrimages. And like I think 20% of them are Japanese is what the statistic said, which was wild.
There's like not much. Yeah, I looked into doing like a Prince Edward Island, that's the island, trip, and there's like not too, like, it's beautiful apparently, and like you can get like lobster up there, but there's like not too much there's not too much to do other than look at fields and pretend to be Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, which like I can see the appeal of that.
Sure.
Hey, let's go to Canada, look at some fields, get some lobster, and pretend we're gonna smash some chalkboards over some boys' heads.
Yeah. They should just like let you do that. Like you can legally smash as many chalkboards over boys' heads as you want.
Oh yeah. It's like that place in downtown where you can go and pay like $50 for an hour to just smash shit in a room.
Yeah. Have you ever done that?
I haven't. I only heard about it like right before quarantine happened, but I always kind of meant to.
We did it in a friend's backyard.
Oh hell yeah!
COVID, where they had a bunch of like electronics, and so we just like went out in their backyard and just like Office Space style, just like smashed a bunch of electronics, which is very unsafe because shards of goes everywhere. You should wear goggles. Yeah, but
I've always wanted to smash a guitar. I not mine. I would never smash mine or like a good one, but I've always wanted to just kind of have that experience of just wrecking something like that.
You know,
pulling a Phoebe Bridgers, pissing off a lot of boomers.
Yeah. I think you could make that happen for yourself. I think you could make that dream happen. Did you get your gift?
Yeah, I did. Did you want me to bring that on stream?
Your gift.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, we're all for gifts on the Wife Swap show.
Yeah, I got Sam for his dating simulator post-show gift.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
had that brought to our door as the
What?
Whoa!
She
Straight
did a
from Green
flower
Gables.
show. She got me a bouquet of flowers.
Oh.
I'm cute.
Oh.
Wow. This is wonderful.
Aw.
Oh.
Did you think I just like bought myself flowers when you got it at the door?
No, I kind of understood what I was like, and then the gentleman that came to deliver them, I was kind of expecting him to have some kind of message or something, but he was like, "No, just scan your."
There's
But
like,
then we
like
also
a
got-
telegram.
He was just
Then we
like,
also got
here.
delicious food.
Just
Here's
as
throw
well.
them at you.
Yeah, I had to round out the
Take
order.
your fucking flowers.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Well, thank you, honey.
You ordered this for yourself. Now it just looked like you ordered yourself a bunch of boxed wine and flowers. That's good.
Well, because you had your ID sitting out.
Yeah.
Okay, but I gave him mine. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Well, in the next Super Dating Simulator, all of the characters are boxed wine, right?
Yeah, they're all sentient boxed wine. They're all trying to like get in each other's spigots. But
Oh, that's a horrible word.
and you caught that on camera. Love you.
Spigot.
Let me. Do you mind if I put these somewhere? I just.
In there.
Oh.
It'll live.
Emily, this is great. Did you know that it'd be so sweet on the wife swap episode if I think
Yeah.
you did it?
I was expecting the wife swap episode to be like dirty and kind of impersonal, but no, it's really, really sweet and
Yeah.
nice.
Just showing, different lifestyles.
Yeah.
Different lifestyles of kindness and like being like really sweet to somebody? Is that like a
That's an alternative lifestyle now. Is kindness. Not being an asshole is an alternative lifestyle.
So we gotta wrap up shortly, but if there was, is there anything else that kind of
I feel like we
scratches?
just got started, Brandon.
I know.
Sorry to
I know.
interrupt,
That's
but, you know.
That's how it goes here on the wife swap. You're out of time before you.
That's how it goes. You put in your quarters, and when your time's up, your time's up.
And I was like, is this a massage bed? Like, what is
I was thinking more of a car wash, but
Oh.
I've got a massage chair.
Oh. I was thinking like cheap motel massage bed.
I was
don't think
thinking
those exist
those
anymore.
automated things that are in front of grocery stores.
This is all very telling.
It's either a horse or a rocket ship.
That's what a wife swap is to me.
A horse or a rocket ship. All wives can be put into two categories: horses or rocket ships.
Means I
So,
don't want-
rocket
right.
ship McGregor, if there is there anything else that you could maybe recommend that sort of scratches the same itch as old Anne of the GG?
I mean, yeah, there's Little Women. That one's kind of obvious. I mean, they have the remake recently. Watch that,
Can I show you guys my impression of Bob Odenkirk in that movie?
please.
Oh, hello. And that was Bob Odenkirk in Little Women.
Accurate, very accurate.
For the podcast listeners, Brandon backed away and very gingerly raised his hand.
Hello. I could not wait for when that movie popped on Netflix and the algorithm was going to give it to me with like, say Little Women, but it would just be like Timothée Chalamet and Bob Odenkirk. So Little Women.
Little Women. Trying to think of like the other. I feel like there's a lot. It doesn't. I don't think there's a movie for it, but I was thinking about it recently. Island of the Blue Dolphin. Did anybody ever read that book?
That sounds familiar.
It's like a girl got like stranded on an island. That's literally all I remember.
I remember that book.
But I remember playing a lot of pretend that like I was also stranded on an island and had to like make shit out of rocks and.
I remember reading that because it's so much more about like discovering yourself and having like this journey. And she does. I think she befriends a dolphin. I don't think that's
Yeah,
false.
there's something with a dolphin.
There's something.
Yeah.
There is something with a dolphin. It's not just in the name. But like,
Are you just thinking of Flipper?
No, Brandon, please, not again with Flipper.
Find that other.
It's either
one.
pedals.
That
It's
other
either
one with Mara
guitar
Wilson
pedals
and the
or
dolphin.
Flipper with you. So yeah, I I remember liking it when I read it. I have a memory of liking it. I don't have any remembrance of the detail.
You know, I think it's because we were talking about The Giver recently, and how like every kid read The Giver.
Oh, The Giver's pretty good.
The Giver is a good book. I still think it's a really good book. And Emily and I just watched the version with the movie. That movie version with Jeff Bridges and the greatest actor ever lived. Her name
Jeff
is
Bridges.
No. It's frickin'
Meryl
Streep, the greatest actor ever lived.
Oh yeah, I forgot she's in that.
Who does Meryl Streep play in The Giver? Is she Jonas?
No,
she plays like the head, like elder.
Oh.
That movie is maybe not the best, but I do think the thing it does communicate fairly well is like how the nature of that book feels really monochrome until the memories start coming in. They do a good job of that. I don't know.
I mean, they put it in black and white. That's not hard to communicate.
Look, Emily, I don't read good books like Anne of Green Gables. I'm over here reading manga, which is already black and white. It's the only thing I understand.
It's the only thing you see.
I'm a dog.
How was Lebowski in that movie?
Lebowski's good in the movie. I mean, okay, so the one running joke that we developed when we were watching that version of The Giver is, Jeff Bridges is kind of doing, this is my impression now. Jeff Bridges is kind of like, look, I'm going to give you the sight, I'm going to give you the memories, but and like we just kind of made it more lewd, where it was like, sure, if I teach you how to touch yourself, will you just leave me alone? Because honestly, I could give you memories of war and art and all this stuff, but really, if you just know how to touch yourself properly, I'll teach you that, and then you just leave me alone. Let me just give you the only thing you actually need, which is a self-pleasuring fantasy. Like, so we just started doing that.
Yeah, the movie's great if you do that.
Movie's great if you, like, bridge your way through it.
They call me the Giver or El Giverino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
If I taught you how to wife swap, would you just, like, do that and, like, leave me alone with my piano? Come on, man.
Shut the fuck up, Jonas.
It's me, Jeff Bridges as Jonas. Come on.
But I'm Sam Elliott. I'm also Jonas.
Emily, do your Steve Buscemi.
No.
Perfect.
So, I think we're sort of getting to the point where we need to wrap it up. After we talked about Jeff Bridges teaching a child how to jack off, we got to end the show.
That's a note. That's a note.
Well, thank you both for joining us here on the Wife Swap podcast. If people wanted to find more Emily McGregor content on their internet or in their lives, how could they do that?
Yeah, I got my Instagram, eMcGree, EMCGREE, and Facebook. You can find me on there. Those are the main spots.
All right. And
Emily,
Sam, what about you?
Oh yeah, well, at me you can find me at Sam Weller, YEAH, all one word, Sam Weller. But Emily and I have a short film that we did together. It's okay. That's pinned to my Twitter account, Sam Weller, so you can check that out. It's also on my Facebook page, Sam Weller. We did that together. You can see Emily acting and me acting, and I think it's pretty funny. So I think people should check it out. Also, Emily, directing-wise, just released Here Hold Grandma, which was a short that she did that won the Austin Revolution Film Festival for Best Comedic Film.
Oh, hell yeah.
She has that on her profile. Here Hold Grandma, and it's also on your website, which is McGregor.cool.
Oh, yeah. I have a website. That's right.
Hell
You're
yeah.
great, man.
Yeah, I want Sam to do my plugs now.
No, he's great. He's doing all my plugs.
So
I'm terrible at this.
Definitely check out Emily McGregor, a wonderful director and writer.
Love you.
I love you too, babe.
Sam Weller, what about you?
Yeah, Sam Weller. You can follow me on social media. You can also follow Super Dating Simulator, all one word. We just got done doing our show. We're fourth Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on our Twitch channel, but also you can watch it at the Pack Theater, which, if you're watching on this stream, you should definitely donate to the Venmo, Pack-Theater. all one word, Pack-Theater, all one word with a hyphen in the middle, Pack Theater. But yeah, that's where
we
you
could
can follow
go
me.
and we could go places.
Yeah, I have some other projects in the works that I think I'm gonna do some announcements of in the next few months. But Super Dating's where you can find me, follow me for more of our shorts together.
Hell yeah. As always, you can find all of my mess at Hell Yes Brandon on all of the socials. Inkblot has some live shows on
Hell yeah.
YouTube that are pretty fun. We've got a demo EP and our insane cover of Tom Waits' Little Drop of Poison on SoundCloud, where I blew out my voice doing a Tom Waits howl. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. East Coast time, 5 p.m. West Coast time on twitch.tv/hellyeahbabies for the I Want My HYB music video sketch comedy show thing stream. We're going to be airing a video I made for Happy Sappy Grown Up Hour. It's a pastiche of Fleetwood Mac called We Never Should Have Banged that features your best friends Jillian Dunn, C.K. Kimball, vocals by Kaylee Quick and Mike Pfeiffer and myself.
That's like an alumni list of like some of the best Super Dating people too. So
yeah, actually, I think everyone in that show, with the exception of the dude who doesn't live here, has been involved with Super Dating in some way at some point.
It's the wife swap episode.
Sure is. Wow, the wife swap episode gets around. Shit. And I think that's all I have. Oh yeah, my EP Hat and a Hat will hopefully be dropping sometime next month.
Congrats.
Yeah, and you can get the audio of We Never Should Have Banged at brandonbeck.bandcamp.com for a whopping 69 cents.
Brandon, if I could plug you for a second,
yeah.
You also had like one of my favorite parody songs of the last year or so with that frickin' the Margaritaville guy.
The Jimmy Buffett
Apocalypse song parody.
Yeah,
It's so catchy. I legit just listen to that when I want to listen to Jimmy Buffett style songs. I love that one. So
amazing!
That
means I nailed it. Thank you.
Yeah, people should definitely find that one, but that's really funny.
Yeah, it was another thing I did for Happy Sappy. It was a Jimmy Buffett song about the end of the world. I actually did 2 Jimmy Buffett parodies this past year. For the Hell Yeah Babies, for the band that I'm doing their stream tomorrow, I recorded a cover of one of their singles as Jimmy Buffett, as if he had done it live once like 8 years ago and sort of half knew it, including stage banter and the end of the previous song. And I didn't tell them I was going to do this. I just did it and then posted it to Twitter and was like, hey, do you guys know that Jimmy Buffett covered your song? Because I'm a fucking madman, apparently. So yeah. Oh, and thanks as always to Kaylin West for the use of our theme song, Starting Over is a Lot Like Giving Up, from the album Falling is a Lot Like Flying. There it is. I almost said Putting the Days to Bed, which is Bean Dad's record, and a whole different thing.
Never mistake Bean Dad on this podcast again.
No. And yeah, Beth, she's not here, but you can find her at bscores_ on Twitter and Insta and all over the place. And mostly right here in my heart. So yeah, Sam and Emily, thank you so much for joining me for this polyamorous crossover episode.
It was lovely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, Emily, for guesting and for coming on in on the show. I'm doing my co-host bit finally.
Oh,
thank you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had a great time.
Well, all that being said, live stream podcast over.